What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, man. What's good? How y'all doing today? Monday, March the 6th. You know what I'm saying? And well, I'm having a good day so far. But for today's video, I didn't click on the video yet. Nice. For today's video, we got, do all high schoolers think the same? Okay. Now, me being a former high schooler graduate, actually, I feel like I can relate to some of the things you guys are saying, you know, so some of the things they're going through, how they feel. All right. So we can get straight to this video. Let's go.
Seeing an iPad kid, I'm like, wow, what job is he gonna have? He knows more about scrolling to the next video than like anything that will help him get a job.
Damn, why you dick riding them though? Why you dick riding them though?
High schoolers are kids.
No.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
Yeah. I'm have to agree. I was a kid, bro.
I feel like to say high schoolers in general are kids is almost like defeating the people who are in the minority. Like for people like me who have grown up more just mature for my age and I guess fitting more an adult mindset, I feel like I can't say for myself that I'm a kid because I definitely make adult decisions time and time.
Nah, you're a kid, nigga. You're a kid. You can make adult decisions and still be a damn kid. All right, you just had to grow. You just had to, you know what I'm saying, do it faster than everybody else. You're still a kid though.
Again, I mean, there are people who still have the mindset of kids, but I can't say high schoolers in general are kids.
I think they are kids because, you know what I'm saying, they're, okay, more than half of them don't drive on their own. All right, they have a job, like yeah, kids still have jobs, but this is actually they still can't do on their own and they won't do on their own. You know what I'm saying? You're just probably the one, you know what I'm saying, well, you, obviously there are people that have to grow up, you know what I'm saying, but like, he's not like an exception.
I feel like with high school, it's such a broad statement to say high schoolers because there's a giant difference between a freshman and a senior. Like it is, that's why like when they try to date each other, it's like, why is that 18-year-old trying to date the 14-year-old? Like it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it would be naive to ignore the fact that like, especially anyone who's a senior, they're about to be a legal adult.
I think kids need mentoring. That's how I see it. I mean, adults too need mentoring, but I think kids need that extra help and that extra push. I've seen many kids who have been forced to be older or act older as they are, to mature faster. That's why I went for agree.
Facts.
I want to move.
You want to move? Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I
Talk
don't even
us
know if I
through.
could.
What are you thinking?
Well, I agree. I feel like there's just so many decisions, especially in high school, that we have to make that are not like kid-like, and they expect us to act a certain way, and also like the fact that we're even.
Well, that's because you're damn near 20. I'm talking for like okay, yeah, okay. So then I agree. Not all high schoolers are okay. So I'm gonna say from freshman. Okay, I don't know, because some 18-year-olds still don't do shit, bro. They literally like are getting babied by their parents. You know what I'm saying? They're still kids. Just because you turn 18 doesn't make I don't make you an adult, bro. 18-year-olds still be doing dumb shit. They still be getting, you know, they still need, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
Able to drive, how should we still be considered a kid?
Do you mind if I move?
I think kids can drive
I
still.
moved because I feel like, especially at that
Nigga, you're
15
15
age, you're constantly planning for your future where it's actually difficult to live in your childhood.
That is true.
It's just kind of,
well,
you're unable to live.
Okay, I mean, in high school, you all, like, I didn't start planning for my future. Actually, I gotta think about it. I don't think I ever. I gotta think about it. Wow. Anyways, that's not the point. All right, it's not the point. The point is that he's 15. He's a kid. I don't care what nobody say. Unless you're 18 up here, which I rarely think is. I still think is a kid. 18. I'm 20, by the way. I feel like I'm still a kid. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm not. Like, I feel like I'm still a kid. You know what I'm saying? And I work a job, I do all of what they're saying. I have to plan for my future and all that, but I still feel like at some point, or not some point, at some degree, I am still a kid. So I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
As a child, so it's like, how can you consider yourself?
Let me know
when
your opinions in the comments.
I
want your opinions on this, on everything.
When I was a freshman, all the teachers around me always told me that I needed to prepare for my future.
She's probably a
and
sophomore.
I feel like, especially coming after online school and quarantine, I'm still living in that middle schooler mindset. I'm still basically like a kid living and preparing for my future, which I'm clearly not ready for.
I feel
So
like
why are
kid
you
is
in
kind of a weird
disagree?
word. So like it's just kid and adult. And I feel like in high school, I kind of want to be thought of as a kid because it's kind of like, oh, he's a kid, right? It's like an excuse almost. Like you're allowed to mess up. I really
Yeah,
can't like look
yeah.
at my classes full of 18-year-olds and say these are adults.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like now it's later and later we're turning into adults. I don't feel like we turn in. I mean, of course, there's people that have to pay bills at 16.
Yeah.
But to say a high schooler is an adult, I feel like I like to know that I can grow so much more.
Yeah,
from now.
I
Oh,
like
I did
this
that when I was a
dude.
kid,
Facts.
not, you know, as an adult.
Facts.
Today's high schoolers have it harder than previous generations. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm gonna say no. My opinion is disagree. I'm gonna see what they say. I'm gonna disagree. I don't think no, y'all don't have it harder. In the world.
I feel like now, our generation, we have more resources
Yes.
for help that we need, you know? And way back.
It is so. I mean, as long as you do good in high school, and you continue to do good in high school, you're gonna get in college. And then with internet now, you know what I'm saying, and just, you know what I'm saying, jobs in general. Maybe it is harder to get a job. I don't know. I think it might be easier to get a job, but yeah, I think it's way easier to get in college. Back in the other generation, back in like the 1900 generations, like 1999 and stuff, when they try to get into college, bro, like it was you probably had to pay a whole bunch of. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Back then, like mental
Maybe
health.
I'm not the right person for this.
I was like, they would put you straight to camp or like some conversion stuff like that. But I feel like now there's just more resources. We have the internet. We have the media.
Facts.
Like, would you have wanted to send a pigeon to your friend instead of texting your friend? Like, you know, stuff like that. Like, would you want to have, you know, we just have it easier now.
Do you
I
really
feel like
think
it's an
niggas
in-between
sending
thing
pigeons?
because I feel like social situations now are much
Do you really think niggas are sending pigeons, bro? Come on.
better, but back then they were much worse. I feel like there was racism, teachers could beat their own kids, and I feel like now there's so much things that we cannot do, and I feel like it's for the better.
Can I move?
What?
When I think about this question, I kind of like went to bullying and how much easier it is to get bullied nowadays, especially on social media. Because it's so easy to hide behind a screen, people say worse things. And I think that mental health, maybe it was just as bad back in the day, but because of social media, it's become more prominent and we see it everywhere. Another thing that I also thought about was you guys say that we have more resources, but don't you? Well, you don't have to agree, but I feel that the resources have kind of made us a little less smart because we're able to look up that, like, the answers to our test, or like, I don't know, everything's just so much more accessible that I'm not really learning as much as like my mom and dad did. So
I have to disagree, bro. Even though like I was able to look up the shit in my test, that doesn't mean I'm not learning it, right? If I'm taking a test or I'm studying for a test and I need to learn, I go on Quizlet, right? I look at the answer and I realize, okay, that's the answer. So next time I take tests, I'm like, okay, that was the answer I looked up on Quizlet last time. I know this. And even still, if you're not learning it, nigga, that's on the teacher. That's not on you. I mean, that's on you, not the fucking. If you're in class and you're not paying attention and you have to look up the answers, nigga, that's on you. You're not learning it.
So I kind of like sad that all our resources are so much more accessible.
Yeah, I know some dumb, you know, people like, they're like, is it hot outside? And then they'll go to their phone and check the weather. Like, just go outside, you know?
What else am I
I feel
supposed
like
to do?
school right now is so easy for our generation. Like, it is so incredibly easy. Like, especially
Facts.
now that I'm in senior year. I mean, I'm not taking incredibly hard classes, but like, they don't even
Facts.
give you homework because they know you won't do it. Like, it's like they
Well,
would
nah,
rather
I
have
ain't
you
gonna lie, I don't know
pass
about
than,
that.
like,
That's
teach you
crazy.
something. And like, the amount of kids that held back is like nothing. Like, it's just, oh, keep going ahead, go ahead, go ahead. And so like,
That is true.
seeing like,
Yeah, that is true. We have people, bro. I have people in some of my class, my class right now that I know damn well shouldn't have graduated, bro. But they got, you know what I'm saying, pushed ahead. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's easier, bro. They'll literally push you to graduate, bro. They'll literally like give you that little bump ahead to graduate.
classrooms from like older generations, it seems like, oh, they're like learning, there's more respect to the teachers. Now like there's like such little discipline that every class is just like a muck.
I feel like
That
just
is
because
true.
things are easier does not mean it's better. My friend goes to college in San Diego, and there's literally a group chat for people in a nursing major just to cheat
I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but he said fucking high schoolers. He didn't say
on
college.
the work. And if we're having nurses that don't even know how to like give you medicine, stuff like that, it's scary.
We're talking about high schoolers.
How the pandemic impacted
Like,
you
you talking about
guys.
college.
Yeah, I think it did impact our generation. I know personally.
It did for me.
I was I was always so great at talking growing up, and then going into coronavirus, not really like talking to my friends a bunch and like being kind of like antisocial and to myself. Coming out and having to talk to adults was like terrifying. I didn't want to do it at all. I couldn't even talk to like my peers.
Me personally, like, okay, the pandemic had an effect on like my day-to-day, like, you know, what I was eating throughout the day, like, you know what I'm saying, weight-wise and all that, but like socially, I've always been like weird, right? But I had a job, so I was always like talking to adults and shit. So that never really, I think, if it didn't really help, nor did it impact it, right? But school-wise, bro, I missed out on my entire senior year. I had to do it all online, so it was kind of lame. I still graduated like and shit in front of the crowd, but I missed out on it, bro. And I wanted to do some shit in school, even though I hated school at the time. Junior year, I hated it.
When I went back to school, I felt like I was still in 8th grade in middle school, so it was very hard for me to adjust, and this was definitely like the biggest change like that affected our generation, if you think about it. You know, we didn't deal with the bubonic plague or a big, you know, stuff like that. Like this was the biggest impact. And I remember going back to school, I was so anxious. Like I would take half a Xanax, you know, almost every morning because it was so bad.
There was this day where we can finally take off our mask, and it was so weird seeing everyone, but I never knew what to do with my face. It was just crazy.
I feel ready to explore my sexuality.
Oh,
3,
shoot.
2, 1, go.
Bro, you better not disagree, dog.
Like dating and stuff.
She don't know what they mean, dumbass.
I knew I was
I
gay
don't
at a
mean that.
very young age. So I've kind of always been ready, or kind of always known. Like I was over here at like 6 years old, like looking at a TV screen, and there's like a boy, and I was like, he's cute. Like, I was like, yeah,
Okay.
I already knew. So like, I feel like it just depends what you determine what exploring your sexuality is, because at least in my book, I feel like I've already labeled it, and I'm already confident and happy with who I am.
Okay.
Now it's very normal to explore yourself, and I think even just like having sex, it's very, very naive for any adult or anyone to ignore the fact that like people are gonna do that. Like
Yeah.
it's or
I'm never having kids, bro, so I ain't gonna worry about that. But nah, bro, in high school, bro, everybody, bro, literally, that was the talk. It was literally the talk, bro. It was the talk of the town. That was literally like what everybody was doing, bro. If you weren't doing it, you know what I'm saying, something was wrong with you. But I think that college is really where you should be able, where you should really explore your sexuality. I think high school, this is just me speaking from my perspective. I think that, well, I mean, I don't know. You can obviously date in high school and shit like that, but I think college is where you're really gonna do it because you're gonna be with a bunch of different people from everywhere, not just where you grew up. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be a bunch of new people. You know what I'm saying? People talk to you, people that you start to conversate with, and you're gonna actually do that more. So that's why I personally think. Well, I can't agree for saying I feel ready because I was already. You know, so you know me, I was. You know what I'm saying? I was doing my thing in high school. I ain't gonna lie, I was doing my thing in high school. But that's none of my business. But anyways, yeah, college.
people around you are gonna do that. You're gonna talk about it, or you're gonna see it on TV and
Facts.
with the internet. Like, we have access to everything these days. No one is judged, like, for waiting or wanting to try stuff, as long as everyone's being safe, as long as it's consensual, as long as you're okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
I
Facts.
also grew up in a very private Christian school.
Mm-hmm.
It was very it was like a bubble, you know, and we didn't talk about all that stuff, but now I attend a high school where we actually have wellness classes, also social.
I have another question for my people that are like, I'm saying around my age. Would y'all want your kids to go to public school or high school? I heard private school gets a negative connotation. Like, so I think it's like kind of the opposite, you know what I'm saying? Public school or private school to the public school goers gets like a negative connotation, but public school to the private school goers also gets a negative connotation, you know what I'm saying? They think, you know what I'm saying, well, weird or whatever, but my kids isn't going to private school. My kids are going to be weird.
Helps. Those random
I'm
accounts
sorry,
on
I
my
had to
For
bring
You
the
page,
eyes.
they're like,
Private school people, kids usually
how
go
to
to private
kiss a
school.
boy
Weird.
or something like that. I don't even know.
What is it?
For You
What
page.
happened?
They're like, how to kiss a boy or something like that. I don't even know.
Is it WikiHow?
WikiHow, sure. Like, there's just so many courses, you know. That's why you got to seek them out and find a support system.
It's kind of like for our whole generation happening earlier and earlier, like where we get introduced to it with like the internet and stuff. I kind of like it to be delayed. I kind of like to be a kid for as long as I can.
But do you feel like people don't take you seriously if
Facts.
you continue to,
Ooh.
act younger and want to be younger?
In the sense of like this question, like sexuality, like I feel like I'd rather, because right now it's like most of the pressure is just like, oh, I feel like I'm so behind because I haven't done this, this, and this
Yeah.
yet, when it
Okay.
should be so normal.
it's important that we do educate ourselves on these topics, because once we're older, if we aren't, that could take a turn for the worse. I feel like approaching it naturally or in a professional way, like in terms of like school, if they're providing like health classes, I think that's just the best way to go about it. And I completely agree with you.
I like
like,
that dude. He's smart. This dude's smart. I like this dude.
Nasty on the internet, and like no one wants to go through that.
I don't think
he's 15 too, but that's crazy. He's young.
Because I think it's really weird.
Bro, he's young.
I can never stop laughing personally. Like when I'm in a sixth grader and they say the word scrotum, how are you not supposed to like laugh? Yeah. I don't know. I think it's more of a
bro. So this dude also, I'm hearing this dude's just fucking immature. That's all that he's not ready to grow yet.
Personal endeavor, but I guess.
But you're 17.
No, not everyone's as smart as me, but I feel like personally, I'd just like to find that out on my own and maybe be encouraged by the school. But I don't like the classroom. Let's learn about sex, all sitting together as a bunch of teenagers. Like that's awful. That's like the worst thing ever.
It low key was. It was awful. It was fun though.
I feel
funny, not fun.
Feel safe at school.
This is tough, bro. I had a situation like this. Something happened. Like I was scared for my life, bro. I low key felt safe in my school. Like we always had a security guard, and we also had a police officer. You know what I'm saying, every day that we knew. So I low key did not feel like anything was gonna happen. But it was one specific situation where we went on lockdown and we had to close the doors, turn off the lights. You know what I'm saying, sit down. Like it was weird. It was scary, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like it wasn't a drill either. Like someone actually had a gun in our school. Like I don't think he was like gonna do anything with it. But you know what I'm saying? It's just scary, bro. And I feel like I was scared in that situation, but I've never been scared to go to school because of that situation. If that makes sense.
3, 2, 1, go.
It's actually sad, but you can't feel safe at school no more.
My campus security are amazing. They have a personal relationship with all the students.
Yeah.
I've had bomb threats at my school. I've had like shootings literally walking distance down the street where the school had to go on lockdown. It's unfortunate, but also like it just makes me really aware. Like for every classroom, I have what's my hide plan? Who are my people? I don't feel comfortable putting my phone in the phone chart because if something happens, I want to text my family. And that's why COVID like lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders because I didn't have to worry about that all the time. Also, like a lot of people at my school who have mental health struggles, I'm always afraid that like someone won't be properly treated for that and then they'll just snap one day, you know?
My school has had multiple sexual assault scandals. Like my history teacher right now, my world history teacher, if it weren't for the current sub, it would be with basically a pedophile. So it's scary. And when she mentioned like the bomb, I think I remember.
I ain't gonna lie. She just put, rightfully so. She just put his business out there for the millions of people, bro. So well, we don't know what school she goes to, but he's gonna know what school she goes to if he watches it. So good luck, buddy.
Last year,
you're going to
someone
jail,
created an account with our school name, and it was like shooting or something on this day, and our school ended up canceling school for that day, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
I feel so fortunate to have grown up in a really privileged area where there's not a lot of violence. However, I feel like I'd be ignorant to say that a school shooting would never happen, because all it takes is one kid out of the 2,500 students that I have to take a gun to school and shoot people. And I feel like there's so many different openings on my campus where that could happen.
Why do you feel like he just rehearsed that? I thought he was waiting to say that. Like he had that written down in his notes or something. Listen, don't tell me I'm not tripping. I feel like this is rehearsed.
For that day, and it was horrible.
He was like, all right,
I feel so fortunate to have grown up in a really privileged area where there's not a lot of violence. However, I feel like I'd be ignorant to say that a school shooting would never happen, because all it takes is one kid out of the 2,500 students that I have to take a gun to school and shoot people. And I feel like there's so many different openings on my campus where that could happen.
We have gates, but
it honestly looks like a prison.
Okay, yeah, that's me too.
I won't lie. We have security guards. They're not armed, which was a conversation that came up. Should our security guards be armed? And another conversation came up. Should our teachers be armed? You know, there's just topics like that. I remember this was actually recently, one of the old students at the college threatened to shoot up the whole school, and so even we had to go remote. So it's just like, never feel safe.
My social media presence is important to me. 3, 2, 1, go.
When I was in high school, yes and no. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, it wasn't important to me. I ain't gonna lie. I was in groups, you know what I'm saying? Change the profile. I did all that. Now, I mean, of course it is. I'm trying to build my brand. I'm trying to build my own brand. You know what I'm saying? Trying to build myself up. It's important to me now, of course. But in high school, it wasn't. It was kind of important to me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And if it was important to me back then, when Instagram and all that wasn't as big, well, it was big, but you know what I'm saying? A couple years ago, it's definitely important to them now. When they have TikTok and all that, I think it is.
I don't
believe
particularly post, like maybe just my story, you know, but like I'm not like constantly posting.
Yeah.
And if you do, that's perfectly fine. Like that's a lot of people's outlets, and especially creativity.
I don't own a single social media, and like not as like a flex. I'm just saying like I hate the presence of an app in my mind. Like, oh, you should do this. Like it's an
okay. So at one point, so this dude wants to be a kid, but he just doesn't want to like be on any social
app
media
on my phone. Like I don't want to give it any part of my life, so I'd just rather not have it.
You're 17 with no apps. This dude
nowadays,
gets no bitches.
it also can fall into a career,
he gets no
which
bitches,
is
bro.
really weird. But that's like what I do. It's like, oh, I can't post that picture of me like flipping off the camera with my friends because like a college or a future boss, because your digital footprint is so real. But I also I love having social media. Like I've had it for years. I've always like tried to ground myself and realize that it's just for fun. It's not that serious.
There are some people who I know who have like shown or done some really crazy stuff, and it's spread everywhere. Like there's some things I do not need to know, and people just tell me. Like on Instagram, there's like close friends, and there's like normal stories.
Yes, I hated that. Okay, I'll go like, bro, I hate, bro, the spams, y'all, bro, I don't know if y'all know about the spams, but the spams used to like really go crazy. People used to put their including me, I put my entire life on the spam, bro. And I realized that that's not good, bro. That's why I hate Instagram, bro, because people would just literally just tell you their whole lives.
So much more than I do on my normal story.
Or like a spam account.
Yeah.
I posted a spam account
yeah.
like way more.
A couple years ago, I would have been right there, like on the strongly agree, you know, like, because when I moved to the new school, a lot of people were like, oh, how many followers do you have? If you had over 1,000, it's like, yo, you got clout, like you're good. Digital footprint, that is no joke. Like everything you post will come back at you. I'm so glad Instagram took off that feature where you could see what other people liked. Do y'all remember that? That was ridiculous.
That's why I'm very
I don't even know she
aware
remember
of what
that.
I post. I make sure this is what I want everyone to see.
And yet when I'm so sorry. When you're a kid, like you want social media, like when you first find out about it, like when I was 9 years old, I was like begging my mom to let me have Instagram. And now, like, I'm even embarrassed of like the little like selfies I would post because like they're so stupid. So like looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I would totally never let like my 7-year-old on social media, like, you know, things like that. But I actually did have social media very young.
Yeah, me too.
I got Twitter when I was 6. My mom made it and managed it, but I would still like, I would tweet about like my little kindergarten like crushes.
You like having your mom like to like guide like the account. I feel like I didn't have that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just depends. Like your digital footprint could be much more harmful like when you don't have parents that know how to handle social media or know how to prevent it. Because my parents, they've never used social media. They don't have a single account. So growing up, like begging, I don't think they knew the harmfulness of it. And I don't blame them for that at all. But I feel like that's what led to me being exposed to a lot of stuff. So I feel like definitely with the new generation, and if I don't know if I'll have kids, but if I do, they're not on social media, at least for me.
When those iPad kids, I mean, those kids who use iPads, it's so
sister's an iPad kid.
addicting. It's so addicting, and
Bro, I got called an iPad kid, bro, because I eat when I had to watch something when I'm eating, bro, and like I find it disrespectful, bro. I'm not an iPad kid, bro. I just y'all know, but when you eating some food, some good wings or some good food, you gotta have a nice little YouTube video on like mine.
Parental control.
When you eating, bro, turn on my YouTube video, bro. I hope I entertain you.
Social media is crazy, like, or having your parents run the account, regardless. It's just that's so important.
Or even having influencers like Andrew Tate who are like influencing these like little boys to think that
I'm not an Andrew Tate fan.
that mentality is like normal.
Yeah.
I feel like social media has drastically altered my personality, especially during COVID. And I feel like if it could change me that much,
Bro, this dude speaks like he's fucking rehearsing this shit, bro. Like this
has drastically altered my personality, especially during COVID. And I feel like if it could change me that much, just imagine a 6-year-old having access to a phone for their basically entire childhood. But like, honestly, I got so sensitive to being in front of camera that I feel like I kind of forgot about digital footprint and stuff like that.
I have hope for the future.
You should.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my God! If you don't have hope for the future, bro, you're already done for. You're not even 18
I don't know,
yet.
man. Seeing an iPad kid, I'm like, wow, what job is he gonna have? You know, I mean, he knows
Bro,
more about
worry
like
about
scrolling to
yourself.
the next video than
Nah,
like,
he's on his dick. Get off his dick, bro. Get off his dick, bro.
anything
He's
that,
everybody,
like,
but you're talking about
will help get
yourself.
a job. I don't know. I don't feel like I have very much hope for our and the next generations, as like I feel we keep getting like the younger generations kept getting like profited on and like abused almost.
When I heard this question, I kind of thought about social justice and like the issues that we're experiencing right now. Like there can be a change. And I just really don't think that people back in the day were seeing that type of change. Everything was just thrown kind of under the rug, not really spoken about.
I still love to dream like, oh, I would love to achieve this one day, but even if I don't have that financial capability, I still have hope. I hope I could get there one day, and I still try to remain positive.
Everyone's goal at the end of the day is just to be happy in what they're doing and make a difference in either your own or someone's life. And I think like just by having this discussion, like there's so much hope for everyone in here to go on and be successful in that, no matter what it is. So I have a lot of hope for the future, and I'm really excited, even though I'm nervous and I'm anxious about a lot of it, I'm really excited to see, like, in my personal life, like, what that means for me. Because I know I'm never gonna stop until I'm happy with what I'm doing.
I mean, I feel
Facts.
really grateful for our generation because a lot of us are very open-minded to having these types of conversations, whether or not it relates to us or exists in our nature. But I feel like people are so open to change now, and I feel like that's just great moving forward. And I feel like a lot of us Gen Z people have gone through such traumatic and bad experiences that we're gonna become amazing parents one day.
Like, I think I remember, like, during quarantine, there was, like, a sign in New York that said we had, like, this many years left and before our world, like, ends or something. And my sister is an iPad kid, and I've seen how she is. And it's like, I want to say I have hope for the future, but just based on
What is
what
an
I'm
iPad
seeing, it feels
kid?
like there's no change, kind of.
Wow, that was weird. Bro, if you don't have hope for the future, bro, you already lost, bro. Like, you should have hope for your future. All right, I have hope for my future.